I've had my fair share of problems with the car. This video is going to be about the clutch, so stand by. The notorious and infamous clutch of the Hyundai Tiburon. Just have a listen for yourself. Okay, now I'm going to put it into first. So I'll take you into the engine bay. I'll set the camera by the slave cylinder and see if we can hear some more noises. You don't want to hear that sound coming from your transmission because it's a good chance that your clutch disc is completely worn out and that whatever's left of the disc is just slipping off the flywheel. The clutch disc was so worn out that it just pretty much fell right apart in my hand. There's quite a big difference between this stock OEM disc that the car came with and the new one I got. Main difference is the springs and the dampeners in the clutch disc. The stock setup has a dual mass flywheel, so the dampener is in the flywheel rather than the clutch disc in the stock setup. But in the conversion kit, the dampener is in the disc rather than the flywheel. This is the kit that I'm using. You can get it from Rock Auto, but I got it from eBay for a little bit cheaper. I installed it at about 174,000 kilometers, and now I have about 194,000 kilometers. So that's about 20,000 kilometers I've been driving around with this kit, and I can tell you that the single mass conversion kit is a good kit. But I do find that the engagement is a little bit rougher and more harsh, and that I gotta slip the clutch more to get a good smooth start. So if you got a Tiburon, chances are you're gonna have to replace your clutch sooner or later if you drive the car long enough. And there's a lot of questions about the replacement. So there's one gentleman here, he says that he replaced his clutch, but he can't push the clutch pedal down now after installing a new clutch. So in that particular situation, but before I get into that, I just wanted to say that I don't recommend a stage 3, 4, 5 clutch kit unless you have a highly boosted car, you have a lot of money to blow, or you just drive your car on the weekends, you're building a show car, then I'd understand. But everybody else, just get this single mass conversion kit because it'll save you money, it holds power, and it has drivability, and most importantly, you'll have no problem with fitment. It'll fit. It's guaranteed to fit. I can tell you that. It works good, and it's a good kit. You won't have any issues with it. So going back to the question, gentleman, he pushes his clutch down, and it's stiff, rock solid. Clutch won't go down. When you push your clutch, it moves the slave cylinder, which moves the throwout bearing. Now, let's just say that there was a piece of gum or a rock stuck in your slave cylinder, then it's possible that your slave cylinder could be plugged up and that's causing it, but chances are that your throwout bearing is either not the proper throwout bearing or that it's just been installed incorrectly. Before installing the throwout bearing, you should make sure that the pressure plate is oriented downwards. This opening here is downwards, facing down. And get your throwout bearing. You see how there's a little ring there? It should snap in to the pressure plate. So just lightly put it in. Don't snap it in, whatever you do. Just lightly put it in like this and make sure that it fits okay. Check that it's the right one. Once you do that, you put it on the fork. Just like this. You put it on the fork and then assemble everything back together. Well, not everything. You just put the manual transaxle, mount it to the engine, and then you grab a hold of this lever here and just push it, and you'll lock the throwout bearing into the pressure plate. It shouldn't take that much force, and you should hear it lock in, and you should feel it with your hand. As you push, you should feel it snap in. So it's absolutely crucial that you orientate this downwards and that you check your throwout bearing, that it actually fits inside of your pressure plate without pushing it in. You just push it in lightly so you know it's the right size and that it will snap in when you go to try and make it snap in. And then once you do that, you put it on the fork and you make sure that you lock it in place. Let's listen to it again. If you have some sort of other intermittent issue, getting it into gear or some noises or something, I highly recommend that when you change your gear oil, that you drain the oil out and then open up the whole compartment. It's only like 7 volts or something, and make sure that there's a bolt right there securing the gear. Make sure that bolt is there. And also make sure your magnet is in place and not floating around. It's not very likely that you have a problem with the internal part of your gearbox. Many people have bought their car used, so maybe the previous owner rested his hand on the gear shift lever a lot or had bad habits like forcing it into gear. So doing things like changing gears without pushing the clutch all the way in, that can cause internal damage. However, you'll never know how the previous guy treated your car, so be sure to change your gear oil and watch that gear here. The bolt, it should be there. Crucial, the magnet is in place, so check for your magnet. Filter out the oil, and you don't want it in your oil floating around. Clutch fluid, if it's deteriorated, then you could have an issue with engagement. So if you have black fluid, change it out every 2 to 3 years. It'll help you with engagement. So that's all I can remember right now. If I think of something else, I'll be sure to update you guys. And 4 more years, that'll be 20 years I had this car, so let's keep it going. Hope you guys have the best of luck and we'll see you next time.